Fortuna eruditis favet, said Louis Pasteur more than a century ago. This brilliant scientist modified the ancient Latin wisdom in order to emphasize that the fortune favors to the prepared minds. In the upcoming few minutes, I'll try to guide you and help you to be more ready how to expect unexpected in the transportation. I'll try to be a little bit more tangible. I'll show you a couple of solutions and the tools which you can use in order to be ready for the disruption and how to handle and tackle the disruptions. Supply chain, the logistics is a backbone of the supply chain, and similar like a planning, manufacturing, and entire supply chain, also the logistics is facing the various disruptions. In July this year, 12,000 dock workers in the German seaports went on the strike for the third time. The container dwell times started to climb to the roof. Actually, it is not so common to have the congestions issues in the Northern Europe, and yet lately it's becoming to be the standard. And there seems to be no end in the sight. This year we also had quite a hot and dry summer, which affected the water level in the rivers, like the Rhine, for example, which already anticipates the issues in the operations. So the barges and the vessels are not only cannot be utilized to its full capacity, so their capacity is now lowered by 2/3 even, but they are already struggling to reach certain locations. So this is already showing that we have serious disruptions ahead of us in the transportation from this perspective. Back in 2017, Maersk, the giant shipping company, was affected by the ransomware NotPetya, which caused a huge disruption for them. It took only 7 minutes to infect their network. The major issues were caused within 1 hour, and it took them 9 days to recover and restore the data back. There are also other disruptions which the logistics is facing. We heard about the pandemics, we know about the different natural disasters and stuff like that. But not all the disruptions are necessarily negative. You might be, for example, the producer of the air conditioning, and there is quite fantastic season, so your sales is climbing up, so it's fantastic, right? But you are not prepared for this. So you need to adapt and react quickly. Also, Amazon caused quite a big disruptions in the market. And this is what disruptive companies are doing, right? So they are introducing products or the services which completely change the way how we operate and how we work. So each of these disruptions are having its nuances. We are not able to control them, we are not able to stop them, and we are not able to prevent them from happening. But what we can do is that we can be ready. We can be ready to adapt. It means to respond quickly to the new condition and the new situation and to work under the new conditions. Or, even better, we might have resilience system in place. Resiliency, as Susanne was mentioning before, it's not only actually about how the gummy bear can go back to its original status, but in the ideal case, or in the better case, it's even to improve to a better state than before. Incidents will happen, whether we like it or not. And this is why we should have systems, people, and the processes ready. I think there are 3 steps how we can tackle the disruption and to tackle the situation. It all starts with the identification. So try to identify it and detect as early as possible that there is a disruption which is coming. Be open-minded. Have your eyes and ears open. Think out of the box. Don't fool yourself in case you are, for example, producer of the construction materials like the bricks and the concrete, that the weather condition, for example, might not affect you. They might. Once you identify what possibly could get wrong, analyze. Analyze in depth how it can impact you, internally, externally. Have real-time data analytics on your hand that would help you to evaluate the risks, to define how this can affect your operations, what could be the potential effects, and what can you do. And most importantly, be ready to respond. It means have prepared the next steps. Ideally, make your decisions based on the data-driven. Have your alternative routes ready. Have your alternative sources ready. Have your alternative carriers ready. So the world's famous example of the data-driven decision is the UPS with their left turn rule. I'm sure that you heard about it, but in case not. So the UPS did a study about how they operate, how the trucks are moving, and how they are executing their routes. And they they realized that it cost them quite a lot of money, and also they are losing a lot of time if their trucks are turning left. So they instructed their drivers, whenever they reach the crossroad, to go right and right and right. And thanks to this data-driven decision, they were able to save quite a significant amount of money. So I think there are ways how we can be prepared to mitigate the disruption. In generally, I would say that there are three main pillars or three main elements what we can do in order to be more ready. The first one is to collaborate. It means we live in the logistics and overall in the supply chain. There are a lot of people who are involved, and it takes time to exchange the information. That's why we should use whatever tool we can have on one hand in order to exchange data, ideally real time, so as quickly as possible. Ideally, to have all the people who have their hands on the package to be on the same picture. So to have a single version of the truth, to share the documents interactively, and also to what is, in terms of the collaboration, what is very useful is to build relationship with if you are a shipper, with your 3PLs and 4PLs. So in case you have these relationships, you can then come to your 3PLs and 4PLs and ask them for alternative shipping routes or alternative options how to deliver the needs which you have. The second pillar here is automation. Automation is quite a broad topic. It includes transportation planning, it includes settlement, it includes freight processing. So the positive thing about the automation is that at the end of the day, it's saving you the time. It's saving you efforts, ultimately, of course, the cost. Moreover, it helps you to reduce the errors and to increase the accuracy. And we should be able to automate wherever it's possible in order to boost our productivity and efficiency. Such, we would gain the time for the things which matter the most, so to our primary objectives. There is simply not enough trains and trucks on the market that would address the demand, the transportation demand nowadays. And it is not so easy to build the roads or railways during the night, right? And this is the reason why we should address these issues with the digital solution. Use the control towers, the solution that can give you the overview about what is happening real time. Utilize the artificial intelligence, utilize the solution with machine learning, utilize the solution that they are blockchain-based. Nowadays, we see the rising trend of the robotics and drones. Warehouse is a fantastic area for the automation of the processes. There you can have a lot of automated processes, in terms of automated picking, automated loading. You might utilize the drones there. Also in the yard logistics or the yard processes, you can have automations and the technology in place, right? There are also some companies which are already experimenting with the autonomous cargo ships or the trains. Yeah, I hear you. You're saying, yeah, the autonomous vehicles, that's fantastic, but it costs money, it takes time, moreover, it requires to have the legislation in place. So is there something I could do until then? Sure, you can. So let me show you a couple of examples and things which might help you. So we will model it on the simple process overview, and it doesn't matter whether you are a shipper, carrier, or LSP. Basically, it's always more or less the similar things. Some of you might be more focused on the outbound, the others might be more focused on the inbound. By the way, did you know that the Apple needs components from more than 200 suppliers from 43 countries across the world in order to produce a simple iPhone? That's quite a complexity, right? So generally, it always starts with your location, the DC, plant, or the warehouse, to which you need to import raw materials, semi-finished goods, or the finished goods. From there, you're using, of course, different means of transport, whether it's via air, road, rail, or ocean, and then you can be reaching your customers, or in case you have a broader network, the logistics network, you might have more intra-logistic and intra-company and inter-company movements, which again you're addressing with the different types of modes of transport. And then you're reaching your customers, and the last step, but not least step, is freight settlement. Some of you might object that the settlement is a financial process and not the logistics one, yet there are a lot of logistics personnel which believes that settling the transportation cost is the final step of the transportation. So we will model on this process. I will now, in the following minutes, I will offer you a couple of solutions that will be suitable for particular processes. So let's start with the supplier outfall. Supplier outfall, nothing uncommon these days, right? So traditionally, also as we heard before, the supply chain managers, they were very trying to keep their network very lean in order to manage better the complexities. Nowadays, having all the disruptions and the uncertainties in the place, the mindset is being changed a little bit. So the supply chain managers and also the logistics managers are more open for the nearshoring. I think we heard it also in the Vestas, that they are searching more for suppliers which are closer to them, so which are not on the other part of the globe. But also, the supply chain managers and the logistics managers are broadening their network. So it's not necessary that you have your one primary carrier or the supplier, but you have also some backup ones. So in case the primary contact has the outfall, then you can reach out to the backup one and to react quickly. SAP Transportation Management can help with the delivery proposal functionality to realistically model the situation, what can be delivered where, and how much would it cost. Remember when we spoke about the automation before? Are you still using manual planning or using your old legacy systems? Have a look on the modern tools like SAP Transportation Management. The tool that can help you to automate the planning. The tool that is considering the driving time regulations. That it's able to support all the modes of transport. Have a look at this solution to make your life easy. When it comes to the situation that the truck is out there on the route, and it can happen that in extreme situation, it flips, or some of the pallets are damaged on the load. How we can prevent such a situation? Again, SAP TM solution has a load optimizer. The load optimizer can help you to build the pallets, to plan how the pallets should be positioned on the truck, to respect the axle weight, to balance the axle weight. And also now, it's, with the Amazonization, when we have increased focus on the less than truck load, so in the parceling process, it can help you to manage this complexity. To anticipate and address the carrier's lack of availability, the SAP TM is also having a functionality for the carrier selection. With this functionality, you might be able to rank your carriers based on cost, based on capacity, based on risks. Hence, when it comes to the situation, you are able to choose the one which is the most suitable for you to execute your demands. We spoke also about the collaboration. I think Sven this morning was mentioning the SAP Business Network. SAP Business Network is a network of the networks, and one of these networks is also the business network for the logistics. This is the cloud-based solution, which is breaking up the silos and is helping to connect all the involved people across the logistics process to work in one single platform. The transportation planners are spending enormous time trying to arrange the proper capacity in a very short time in a reasonable cost. Get rid of the phone calls, get rid of the tons of the emails. Use the platform that can be used by everyone who is involved in the process, so you can digitalize the communication between the shipper and the carriers. In case your carrier tells you at the very last minute that they are not able to execute your load, then just take this pre-planned shipment and offer it with the tendering to one or multiple other carriers which you have in place. Pick your country, but I'm pretty sure that the situation will be the same everywhere. There is not enough drivers out there on the market. And moreover, they are also aging. So we need not only to try to retain existing drivers, but we also should focus on the utilization of their time. Don't let your drivers waste the time sitting and waiting somewhere in front of the gate, waiting for the loading, unloading. Pre-plan their appointments, pre-plan their time, how much time they will be spending on the site, unloading or loading site. And if you are a shipper, wouldn't it be great to understand what is the incoming flow? So in case you are in the warehouse, you can better plan your resources, your forklift drivers, and you can flatten the peak of the workload. This is where the dock appointment scheduling functionality of the Business Network for Logistics can help you. When it comes to the freight tracking, there are a lot of situations which might happen. And I will not go into the details because you will hear from Nitesh a lot about that one. So just one remark here, the transportation visibility is a cornerstone of the overall supply chain visibility. Then we spoke about the settlement. So try to ease and speed up the process of the freight settlement. Don't waste your time checking the invoices. Have the freight settlement option of the Business Network for Logistics to allow your carriers to do the self-billing, to do the invoicing of the carriers, and in case there is any problem, to raise the disputes which you can then together manage online. Have you ever experienced or heard about the product recall from market? Having material traceability functionality would make your life even easier because it's a blockchain-driven technology, and with this solution you are able to track each component provenance and track it to this original source. And then with all the alerting, you are able to inform whoever is involved in the process very quickly, hence you can recall the products very, very fast. Today we live in an ocean of the data, so there is tons of the data pouring from every side, and hence it's very important to have tools that would help us to manage this information. We at Westernacher have a transportation control tower which helps you to shift from micromanagement to exception-based management. So it redirects your attention to those matters which are important, to the failures of the process or successes, and where needed, you can deep dive into the details. As we always spoke about the collaboration and integration, we at Westernacher, we have plenty of experience with the integrations with visibility providers, brokerage systems, with carriers and the port authorities. So you can easily use the pre-prepared add-ons which we have in order to connect to your business partners. I already spoke a little bit about the settlement, but we have also TINA. TINA is abbreviation of the Transportation Invoice Verification, and it is a fantastic tool to help you even more with the automation of the settlement process. So it gives you a little or almost non-effort. And the TINA is able to process and, in a mass way and autocorrect all the invoices which are coming from your carriers. TINA is fast, she makes no mistakes and can really make your life easier. And when it comes to the last mile delivery, which is usually the most problematic part, we might help you with our driver mobile application, which can support and guide the driver throughout the entire process, from the order till the very last moment. So you also would have a visibility as a shipper back then what is happening at the delivering site. So, as you could see, there are a lot of easy-to-be-implemented solutions which are at your fingertips. Just pick one, automate, collaborate. Just choose and be ready to be resilient. Reach out to us, to Westernacher. We will be happy to help you. Thank you for your attention.
Katarina, thank you very much for your presentation and for introducing SAP TM to us. Well, can I also monitor like the health of the global transport or the overall SC? Is that possible?
Yes, sure, it is possible. So when I was mentioning, for example, Business Network for Logistics, another module which is very handy is the Intelligent Insights. So it's a solution that it's an analytical one, and it's crunching all the data, organizing it to the wonderful reports, which can be pre-prepared, so you would have understanding about the carrier's performance, about the dwell times, about the transit times among the locations. And you can build your own user stories, and you can then build the reporting around your predefined user stories. So I think it's very helpful.
Perfect. And is there a way how to asset and mitigate risk before they impact assets and revenue to be able to minimize, or better case, to prevent delays?
Right. I think there are a lot of solutions on the market, but the one which I would recommend is Everstream Analytics. Everstream Analytics is a solution that lets you know what you don't know and you should know. And it has the nice blend of the artificial intelligence and the human expertise. It's pointing you out what are the probable causes and what are the probable risks that might happen. And it can predict even, for example, missing of the time window, the delivery time windows 2 weeks upfront. So, and it's integratable with the transportation management system and the Business Network for Logistics.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Katarina. Your round of applause.
Thank you.
Thank you.